This stitch is the whipped back stitch. It's stitch number 6 in Stitching Society. I've done a row of back stitch right here, and it's just a regular size, and I used a size 5 silk and pearl. And when we're going to whip it, I'm going to whip it in a contrasting thread so that you can see the stitch. But this is a really nice stitch to do all one color, the whipping the same color as the back stitch, because it just thickens it up nicely. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up underneath our first stitch. So I'm kind of just right underneath, midway through that first stitch. And I've threaded my thread with a tapestry needle because it has a dull point and it was easier to scoot underneath those finished stitches, and so you can go like underneath quite easy. If you don't have a tapestry needle, you can turn your needle around and go through eye first. So either way will work. A tapestry needle is just a little bit easier. So what we're going to do is we're going to whip this like a rope. So it's going to always start from the top of the row and go down through the bottom. And we're just going to go along that line of stitching, and sometimes those are kind of a little tricky to get under. And you want to pull your thread with an even tension so that the wrapping is the same look down the whole line of stitching. And this is all that it is. So you're just whipping a row of stitching. You can whip a lot of stitches. You can whip a chain stitch. The back stitch is always nice. You can do whipping on a lot of stitches. So use your imagination and step out of the box a little bit, and you'll be able to whip a lot of your stitches. It does thicken it up. Look how much thicker this row of stitching looks than this. Now just in a few seconds here and a few more stitches, I'm going to change thread, and I'm going to start whipping with the red thread so that you can see just how it thickens up without a contrasting thread. When you're going to end, you're going to go underneath the stitch just so that it finishes, whoops, that line the way that you would like it to look, so it looks really consistent, and then you would tie off on the back. Okay, so now I'm going to come up underneath this next little stitch. I'll actually come up underneath the one that I just went under. You see how you just come up in the middle of the stitch, and this is a regular needle, so I'm just going to turn it around and scoot underneath with the eye first. And this is just the same thread as I did the back stitch with. So this is the whipped back stitch. Here I'm on my last stitch, and I'm going to go down underneath the stitch and tie off on the back. So isn't that a cute stitch? I love it. It thickens and it's nice. It also curves well too, so you can do any line of back stitching.